And if you've already attended my profit share class, go ahead and put your information that say yes or no, or just so I kind of know if we've got everybody. Sometimes people just get on here and they've never heard about profit share and they get on here and take it anyway, which is fine. But I just kind of like to learn. Where's my chat? It's over here, I guess. What everybody is. So yes, but I need a recap. Okay, Tanya. Yes. Okay. Hey, Tanya, how are you? I've not attended your profit share. Okay. I've not attended your profit share. He's got that highlighted. Okay. No, I haven't. Okay. Very good. I have attended your profit share. All right. So everybody hear me okay? Hey,
Yes.
Ray, how are you? Good. All right.
Good.
So
Thank you.
awesome. So this is again the class that we talk at profit share about a little bit of a higher level than just the basics, because hopefully you've already been through the profit share class that I teach, so you already know it. But today I've got a different PowerPoint. I actually taught FSO with Bruce Hardy, and so there's a couple of things that I thought I would share with you, because this is also about wealth building. I want you guys to go into your chat, and at the very beginning of the chat, I put in a page at for KW Connect that you guys can go and learn about wealth building, and it's a wealth building conversation. I think it's Jay Papazan and Jason Abrams, so you guys might want to go and copy that and learn about that as well, because wealth building is all about building wealth, right? So I want to make sure that we're covering some areas that's going to help you be healthy, wealthy, and wise, as we like to say. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started with something that's going to hopefully help you understand how profit share really works. And then I like to go through and ask any questions that you all have, but hopefully you're going to enjoy this, and it's going to teach you a little bit about where profit share comes from. So make sure this is working. Hold on. I gotta hide this up here because here we go. So let's just say that you were an agent and you did $10,000 in gross commission income. And Ashley, you're recording, correct? Okay. That you did $10,000 in gross commission income, and the market center did $900,000 in gross commission income. Now what we know is we don't get to keep all of that money, because we pay out a certain amount of money at 100%. That means that somebody has capped. So we pay out a certain percentage of money at 100%. And so after we've done that, we have what's called our paid on GCI. It's our paid on GCI, because we don't get to keep all the GCI that comes in, because we pay it out to our agents who are capping. So we have what we call paid on GCI, and that paid on GCI in this particular case would be $500,000. So the market center brings in $900,000 of GCI. We give out $400,000 to the agents who are at 100%, and that means that the market center keeps $500,000. Now, because our associates are on a split of 70-30, that means of that $500,000, okay, that we're going to again pay out $350,000 of that $500,000, which is going to leave the market center $150,000. And that $150,000 is what the market center would use to be able to pay their bills. Okay. So as we scroll down here, you see that's company dollar. That comes from the 30%, might be 20%, whatever split the agents are on. This helps. This is where the market center gets their money to pay their expenses. So when we pay our expenses in this particular case, hold on here, a little clicker didn't work. In this particular case, that's $90,000. So our expenses in the market center are $90,000. That would leave the market center $60,000 to be able to pay their, divide up between profit and profit share. Now, at most real estate companies, this would be the broker's money. But at Keller Williams, because we're a profit sharing company, we share in those profits. But at other companies, they would be keeping that money because that's their theoretically owner's profit. But we're going to share that at Keller Williams, and it's about a 50-50. It really is 48-52. But what we do is, for these purposes today, I'm just going to just say that it's 30%, $30,000 goes to owner's profit and $30,000 goes to profit share. Now, you're going to ask, how is that all divided up? Well, there's a factor that we're going to use in order to be able to determine how that money is utilized. And I'm going to explain that to you here in just a little bit. But what happens is that of that $600, 50% of that, or $300 of that, is going to go to the sponsor in your profit share tree. And then the 10% is going to go to the next person, or $60. 5% or $30 is going to go to the next person. 5% or $30 is going to go to the next person. 7.5% or $45 is going to go to the next person. 10% or $60 is going to go to the next person. And hold on, I need to hide my floating panel here. Oops. And 12.5% or $75 is going to go to the next person in the tree. So if this were me and I had that transaction, and my transaction provided $600 to profit sharing, 50% of that, or $300, is going to go into the person that sponsored me profit share tree. Is everybody? I want you guys to go off mute, and I want to see if everybody understands this. Everybody kind of get this, and what kind of questions do you have? Because this becomes really important, because a lot of people say, I really don't understand how profit share works. I'm going to go back and talk to a couple little things. So who wants to go off mute and talk to me about this? And tell me, what are some of the things that you're seeing or learning from this?
Hey, Georgia.
Yes, Brandon.
Hey, so I just want to make sure I have it right. So out of the pool, it's not the so the $600, how's that calculated? Because it's not like the part of the, if it's a transaction, you're contributing $2,000 to the market share. Is it a ratio? Like, how do we know how much is going to be contributed to that $600?
The ratio of the amount of company dollar that the agent contributed to,
okay.
to the so for instance, the agent contributed in this particular case $3,000. Okay, so $3,000. I mean, if you take $3,000, because if they're contributing 30%, they're contributing 30%, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's 30% of $10,000?
3,000.
3,000. So if you divide $3,000 by 150,000, which is your company dollar, that's 0.002.
Okay.
So 0.002 of the $30,000 is where the $600 comes from.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
So it's also could be $10,000 of the. Let me see here. Sorry, it's that's the easiest way to be able to calculate it.
Thank you, Brandon, because that was my question as well. I didn't know how that calculation was done. And it's the company dollar. It's your contribution of company dollar, the total company dollar, broken into a percentage multiplied out of the profit share shared by
So this particular agent did $10,000. So you would collect there at $3,000 from this agent if they were on a 70-30, right? So then you're going to take $3,000, or you don't take it. I mean, it's this way it's calculated. $3,000 of the total company dollar of the 150,000 is 0.002. So then you multiply that times your profit share, and that gives you your number. Now, this is why I wanted you guys to kind of zone in on this, because here's what's really, really important. Barrett, let's just say that company dollar number was 200,000.
Okay.
And you still contributed 333,000 of 200. Your percentage just got
One,
higher, right?
would have gotten smaller, I think, because it would have gone to 1.5%.
Right. That's, yes, I'm sorry. It got smaller, but what I was going to say is the profit got higher.
Yes.
Because if we keep our expenses, in line, and we have, let's say, $200,000, 200, let's just check this out, 200 divided by 90, that would mean we'd have 110 times 2 is 20, I'm sorry, what do we have?
It'd be 1.5 points.
Yeah.
3,000 into 200,000 is 1.5 points. So
Right. No, but what I mean is, we have 200,000 in company dollar minus 90,000 in expenses. If we kept our expenses the same, right?
Yeah.
So if we divided that by 2, that'd be 55,000. Now 55,000 times 0.015 is $825, Barrett.
Yep.
See what I mean?
Absolutely.
So the more we increase our company dollar, even though your ratio may be lower, okay? Increase this company dollar, keep our expenses in line, you're going to get a smaller piece of a bigger number, but it's going to be a bigger number for you. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's why it's really, really important that when we say we want everybody coaching and training and consulting and helping everybody grow, the more everybody is helping everybody contribute to this GCI, the more we're helping people keep our expenses down. We're going to get more company dollar, we're going to get more profit, and the more profit we get, then everybody wins, because then you get a bigger piece of the pie. Even though your percentage of that company dollar may be a little less, the profit number is higher. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
That's what the benefit, when we say everybody achieves more, that's the benefit of this, because when we do this, then everybody gets to achieve. I'm sorry, and then we have, I don't know if I did the 12.5 minus the 12.5 and 75. All right, so this is actually Bruce Hardy's profit share chain, but here we're going to describe that there's you when you come in, and so just like I said before, this is how the chart works. So it's actually you are at the top of the tree, okay, and then whoever comes in and you bring in, then you're going to get 50% of their, profit share, 10%, 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%, and then finally down here 12.5%. Now the reason this was done this way is because it's the longevity. And when you're really looking at the profit share tree, you're going to find that you really, and I'm going to show you here an example in a few minutes, you're really going to see that the majority of your profit share comes from those 5th, 6th, and 7th levels. That was the way that we understood it, because we knew the geometric progression of people bringing in people, bringing in people, bringing in people. You're going to get a bigger amount, a smaller percentage, but it's good, but it's going to be able to grow. So it's geometric progression. So let me move here to, every time I admit somebody, it moves mine. Okay. So this is what this shows here, is that these 3 areas here. So you see that 50%, then you see these 2 levels here at 5, and you see these 2 levels here at 10 and 12.5. These I'm going to show you on Linda McKissick's profit share, how you're going to get the majority of your money from these 3 areas. Now, the important thing too is, that's why we want you to have about 15 people on your first line. You're going to also notice that the 15 people on your first line don't necessarily need to be big producers. It is important that they become influencers, though, because the more people you have on your first line, then those are the people that are going to attract the people that are going to attract the people that are going to attract the people, because you're going to see the majority of your profit share comes from these 3 areas here. All right, so this is actually Bruce Hardy's profit share tree. So this is Bruce here. Now, Bruce, the way Bruce got into the system is he actually met a guy by the name of, you all know, Tony DeCello. So he met Tony DeCello at an event, and Tony said, yeah, you need to think about this Keller Williams thing. And so Tony eventually talked to him, and Bruce joined. Well, Bruce named Tony as his sponsor. Well, Tony actually was brought brought in Jimmy McKissick. Okay. Oops, sorry, I'm going backwards here. All right, and then Jimmy McKissick, and then Linda McKissick, and then Carol, and then Spencer, and then Phil, and then there's a gal up at the top here. Her name is, hold on for a second. Okay, Georgia. Georgia is actually Phil, this gentleman here, Phil's wife. Georgia actually died about 18 years ago, but she is actually still receiving her inheritance or her, what do you want to call it, her will. Still gets about $200,000 to $300,000 a year off a profit share. So what happened is that Georgia came into the company first, and then he brought in a guy. Her husband was Phil. They were brought in by a person by the name of Spencer, by Carol, by Linda, by Jimmy, by Tony, by Bruce. Okay, so this is how this profit share tree grew. Now, Linda, this is Linda and Jimmy McKissick. Okay, so you can see here they're in the middle of this profit share tree. I'm going to show you their profit share here in a minute. Jimmy and Linda joined Keller Williams probably in the middle of the middle 80s. And they were recruited by a gal by the name of Carol Bounds. Carol Bounds actually owned the Keller Williams office in Denton, Texas. There was a time when her franchise document was up and she did not want to keep her Keller Williams franchise. So she called Gary and she wanted to get out of business. And Gary actually called Linda and Jimmy and said, hey, I need somebody to be able to take over this franchise. So Linda and Jimmy McKissick actually bought the franchise from Carol Bounds. Now, that's important, but it really doesn't make any difference because Carol was always named as their sponsor anyway, okay? What's important about this is Linda McKissick went to a mega agent mastermind with Gary Keller one day, and Gary said, I want all of you guys sitting here in my mastermind, I think there was about 10 of them at the time, and said, I want you all to go out and put a project together on a business. And everybody took everything, and when it got to Linda, she said to Gary, well, everybody's taken everything, and he said, well, why don't you do one on profit share? And she really wasn't keen on profit share. She was out there building her business, so she really wasn't really that focused about it. So she said, okay. And after she went out and did this performance, she realized that this could be kind of a big thing. So she started focusing on it. And I'm going to show you how that focus has really made a difference. But here's what's important is that Linda had named Carol Bounds, who owned that office, who had named Spencer, who had named Phil, who had named Georgia, okay? And you're going to see how these people here, well, you won't see their profit share tree, but through Linda's and Jimmy's profit share, how Carol, Spencer, Phil, and Georgia still earn somewhere in the tune, and they're not even with Keller Williams anymore, $200,000 to $300,000 a year off a profit share. But you see, they're down the tree. They're down the tree. They're not really like right underneath Linda. So let's take a look at that. Oh, this is, well, he explains, Gary, let me explain to you what this means. Gary Keller is actually at the top of the tree because he started Keller Williams, right? So you would think sometimes that somebody like Gary would be able to, all the rest of this money that comes in, that if Gary's at the top of the tree, like whoever is below Gary, that he would get all of those other 7 levels. But here's what happens. He does not do that for anybody that has come in or started and named him. You know, there would not be anybody above him. So there would be all this residual money, as we call it, that he could theoretically take. But he chooses not to do that. And the reason is he puts that money into a residual fund. Now, it used to go to things like NAR advertising or different magazine publications or things like that. But now I believe what they do is they use it more for our command, generating, you know, using it to be able to substantiate our command and our technology in different areas like that. I think there's still some publications it goes into. So, but I think it's important that everybody knows that Gary Keller does not, even though he's entitled to it, does not take that money. He makes sure that it continues to go in to fund our company. Okay, so this is, this is Jimmy McKissick's profit share. Now, I want you to notice here that there's only 2 people on Jimmy McKissick's line. But on his second line, his third line, his fourth line, his fifth line, 6th and 7th, you can see how this third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and lines is where the majority of the people. So let's say you've got, 25, 35, 4, 5, maybe what, 6,000 people out of 180,000 people. I really think that only having 6,000 people in your tree kind of says you don't have to have everybody in your tree to be highly successful. Last month, he got $64,000. $64,000. And so far this year, they've earned $300,000. And you can see here how this, how the earnings go in each one of these levels. And last year, they earned $567,000. Jimmy did. Now remember, and he named Carol Bounds, right? Okay. So when you go here, if you look at this, you've got Linda McKissick. Now, Linda only has 27 people in her first line. Remember I said we want you to get at least about 15 or around 15, but she only has 27. Last month, she earned $95,000. Look over here. 1 month, she earned $108,000, $120,000. That's more money than most people earn in a year, and she's earning this in profit share. $95,000. Total this year so far is $440,000. Last year was $817,000. But again, I want you to see how this all equates to all of these different levels in your tree here. So she's got what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe about 9,000 people. So Jimmy has what, like 6,000, I think, six, and she's got like 9,000 people in her tree. Did you guys see here the opportunity that you have? Oh, here, look, 102,000, and this is our pandemic. This is our bad years. If you take a look at this, and she's still earning $440,000. So, do you guys think that profit share works? Go off of mute and tell me what you think about this.
Yeah, that's insane. And passive income. Love it.
Insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
This just shows up in their checking account every month. Vera, what do you think about this?
I think I help contribute to that because they're in my upline. I see their names on my thing every time.
Now, I love the fact that you said that because every month on the 21st of every month, what do you get from your MCA?
The little profit share charts. I don't know what to call it.
Well, it's not actually isn't it like 3 or 4 or 5 pages of profit share money?
Yeah.
Right.
Where it came from.
Right. So I want to make sure that all of you are getting from your MCA, if you're earning profit share from your MCA on the 21st of every month, I want to make sure that you're getting your profit share statement. And the reason this is important is because on your profit share statement, it will show each agent that you have in your profit share tree that contributed that particular month. And so there, what you can do is you can actually, I'm going to go off of sharing here for a second. Hold on, guys.
Is that a report somewhere we can pull in KW?
In your profit share, that statement that you get?
Yeah.
No, that only goes to the, unfortunately, that only goes to the MCAs. Hopefully someday they're going to make that available. So you guys will be able to go out and get that on your own. But right now it's only available through your MCA. Okay. I want to show you guys something else. So talk to me and let me know. Yep. Somebody have a question?
Sorry, this is Michelle. I just had a question. Did you say that you don't have to stay with Keller Williams to receive that later?
Well, if you've been with Keller Williams, if you joined Keller, yes. If you joined Keller Williams before April of 2020, and you leave Keller Williams for any reason, your profit share continues to go with you. Now, the difference is that we just passed a, I'm pulling something else here because I want to make sure you guys see this as well. We just passed, did you just let somebody in, Ashley? Okay. We just passed a new law that says that if you started with us after April 1st of 2020, you need to be with the company for 7 years. And if you do become vested after 7 years and you leave, then you could lose profit share if you were recruited people from us. If you went to a competing broker and you were recruiting people. So we've changed that policy. But if you were with us before April of 2020 and you are vested, if you leave Keller Williams, your profit sharing will continue to go with you.
Georgia, quick question.
Yes.
You said an and. So if you leave the company and you recruit, what if you just left the company and went to another company but did not recruit anybody?
Well, in the policy, like if you after 7 years, so this would not take place, Craig, until like 2027, right? If you went to I'm going to say this, but I'm being recorded, so I want to be very careful about how I say this, okay? If you leave Keller Williams after 7 years, if you joined us after April and you stayed with us for 7 years and then you left and you retired or you got out of real estate or whatever, your profit share would continue to go with you. They have the right after 7 years that if you leave and go to another company, that you could not receive profit share. However, there is an opportunity there that if you prove to them that you're not possibly recruiting people and you're not hurting the company, that you can have a conversation with them about your profit share. Okay, so it's going to be left up to the legal counsel of Keller Williams. Does that help you, Craig?
Thank you.
So it's not this, there could be some gray area there that they would work with you on. But the policy is that if you leave and go to another company and that they have the right to, that you will lose your profit share.
Hey, Georgia.
Yeah.
Just for clarifications, is that KWRI or is that the individual brokerage?
That's KWRI.
Okay.
Our legal department, compliance. All of that, that's in your P&G manual. So you guys can go in and read your P&G manual and it's explained in there.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Phil Lancelot saying, I need more recruits. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So here's something I think is really interesting. I shared some of this on the last call, but I'm not sure that everybody got a chance to see it again. But I think this is important. Can somebody yell out a number that they got in profit share last month? Would you be bold enough? Just let me know, or make up a number if you want to. But tell me how much you got in profit share.
1,900.
Okay, I heard two numbers, so I'm going to do 2. One was from a male and one was from a female. So give me the female voice again.
1827.
1827. That was awesome. And who was the other one?
2,700.
2,700. Okay. So here's what I want you guys to look at. Boy, those are big numbers. Great job. All right. So here's $2,000. Okay. So 1827 is around $2,000. I want you guys to think about this. That's the equivalent of having $1.2 million in the bank at 2% interest. Now, I don't know where you can go and get 2% interest today or even an annuity at 2%, but let's just say that you did, okay? That's the equivalent of having $1.2 million working for you. Now, that's $24,000 a year theoretically. Now, do you know how much you would need to make over a period of time after paying taxes, after all of your, personal expenses, to be able to save $1.2 million? And that's the power of this. This is what I want you guys to understand. That's like having $1.2 million in the bank when you're getting close to $2,000 a month. Craig, for you, it'd probably be the equivalent of having like, $2 million. Do you see what I mean?
Yes. Yep. I love that analogy, George. That's like I think one of the best analogies to use when communicating to people the power of the profit share. Just to communicate to them the fact that they have the opportunity to rather than having to go find a way to generate that kind of income residually that you can have. And the numbers aren't like huge. I don't think anybody's going to retire off of $1,500 a month, but that's money that you did nothing to get. And so that is the power of the whole thing, is that in order for you to sit around and do nothing and have that money come in, you'd have to have, X amount of millions of dollars in the bank to be able to do that. And the future benefit of it is that it grows over time.
Well, absolutely, Craig. But the thing is, $1,500 is some people's house payment or rent payment. So, that is giving somebody the freedom to be able to pay for where they're living, or maybe you can afford to have your house payment, but this is all of your other expenses. And, some people at $24,000 or $40,000 a year in income, that's a lot of people's salaries in some cases. Okay. So the thing is that to be able to get this just by giving your team leader the name of someone or having a conversation with someone is really be impactful. Okay. So again, even if it's $500, you guys gave me two big numbers. $500 a month, that would be the equivalent of having $300,000 in the bank at 2% interest. Okay. Now, here's something else I want to show you. Is if your annual salary, let's just say your annual or your business profits were $100,000. If you were to save 10%, you would save $10,000 a year. In order to have the equivalent, Craig, of what we were talking about, of having $1 million in the bank, it would take you 100 years to be able to save that at 10% of saving of your money.
I might live that long. I don't know. 100 more years. I might could. I don't know. Probably not. Huh?
I don't know about. There's one thing. I never doubt anything that you say. But guys, this is the power of this. If you make $500,000 in business salary or profits, and you put 10% away, $50,000, it's going to take you 20 years. But you're not going to be getting the money off of that either. So that's the power of profit share. The power of profit share is so important that you're actually going to have some earning capacity on this. And Craig or others, what if you just went out and bought a rental piece of property with the money that you're getting at the end of the year? If you had $500 and you were able to get $6,000, that could be a down payment towards some piece of rental property or something that eventually you could pay off, and eventually you'd have the equity in that, and then you'd have an asset that you paid for that didn't cost you any money.
Yeah, it's a good perspective. Again, it's like, if you had a goal to, have a residual income from rental properties, and of course we should be buying rental properties also for sure. If you wanted to have a goal of having a certain amount of income residual come in, we need to start paying more attention and setting goals for ourselves to be able to figure out how can we leverage the profit share component, because I don't have to change the AC, I replace the roof, I don't have to turn the unit. There's a lot of things that, as far as time goes, that I don't have to worry about doing to still get some kind of a residual income coming back to me. I think that's got to be a focus for us as well.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what I was thinking when you said that. That's a rental property. That you're not, there's no expense there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't have somebody like Craig said, we have a rental property. We just spent $3,000 because the property is about 15 years old, and we just spent $3,000 in updating our all of our appliances and stuff. You know what I mean? Or call, the dishwasher goes out, this goes out, that goes out. Now, if you've got a property manager or something like that, of course, and by the way, we want you guys to invest in real estate, because we think that's smart as well, right? But also, I want to show you guys something. I want to show you guys something else, because since we're talking about rental property, I'm going to share my screen. I want to show you guys something else that I did the other day. So this is actually from the ALC clinic, and let me just use this one here. But let me go over to this. Hold on for a second. I'm just going to the next page. So I want you guys to think about this and get a piece of, can you all see my screen? Get a pen so you can write some things down. Can you all see my screen okay? Am I sharing?
You're
Okay.
good.
All right, very good. All right, so this is called the financial lid analysis. And so I want you guys to think about this from profit sharing and from investment and a lot of different things, okay? So we have three areas. You've got your lifestyle, you've got your investments, and you've got your debt, okay? That's the lid, lifestyle, investment, debt. Now, under lifestyle, I'm going to say, how much do you need to fund your life and your passive income? In other words, I want you to think right now, how much money do you want to have at the, maybe when you're not working anymore, or even right now, how much money do you need to be able to fund your life and possibly your passive income? We're going to come back to that in a minute. Then, what this is going to tell you what you need as an investment to be able to fund your passive income with an ROI at 10%. And then we're going to talk about what debt you need to pay off, your taxes, etc. So let's come back to lifestyle. Lifestyle would mean your home, your food, your kids, your school, your fun, your vacation, your life, okay? What is it that you need in order to make that work? Gene Rivers talks about, do you have the money that if your parents could not take care of themselves, do you have money to be able to take care of them? What does that look like? You want a bigger life or a bigger retirement life. And let's just say that number was $300,000 a year. Let's just say that you said, if I had $300,000 a year coming in income, maybe now to fund your life and or for passive income, that this would be good for you. So now let's look over here. If I want to be able to have that as passive income, what do I need to do to make that work? Well, you could go out and buy stocks, but you'd need $3 million to do that. And that may not be as easy for some of us to do, but a real easy way to do that is to be able to consider getting $3 million in real estate. That would be 10 doors at $300,000 a door, or it could be two $150,000 houses. And you purchase those once a year. Now, all you need for that is 20% down, 20% down a year for each property at $60,000. That's $600,000 for all your properties. But remember, you're going to do this every year. So at the end of 10 years, or maybe you do it in 5 years, you would have acquired $3 million in real estate. Now, let's talk about your debt. Oh, excuse me. So then you'd have $60,000. So $60,000. So you need $300,000 to live on, and you need $60,000 to be able that you need to earn to be able to pay for to buy your rental property. Okay. Maybe part of that comes from profit share. Now, for your debt, you've got IRS. That is your biggest loan that you get. I mean, every time you make $1, you owe the IRS 30% of that, theoretically. Your mortgage, your auto loans, your credit cards. Here's what we want you guys to think about. I want you to take, if you know you're going to need $300,000 plus $60,000 to be able to live your life and buy your rental property, what we know is you need to think about 50% of that $360,000, which equals $180,000. Okay, and you're going to take 50% of that $360,000. You're going to add it to your $360,000 for a total of $540,000, because 30% of whatever you make is going to go to the IRS. 20% of what you make, we want you to use it to pay down your auto loans, your mortgage, your credit card, so forth and so on. So in theory, you need $540,000 a year in order to be able to have this kind of lifestyle. Now, if you want to consider your expenses in that, you need to gross it up about 20%. I know it's 30% in our MREA book, but that would be for if you had a team and so forth and so on. So if you're a single agent, grossing it up by 20% would mean $108,000. But you would need to do $648,000 in GCI. So at the end of the year, you had your money for your taxes, you got your money for your pay off your debt, you got your $60,000 for your to buy your rental property, and you got $300,000 to fund your life. What do you guys think about this?
I better raise what I want to make. I was had a goal of 100,000, so I definitely see I need to bump that up.
Well, I mean, so let's just say that it is 100. Was that Tanya? I don't know who that was.
Michelle,
Yeah, okay.
I'm brand new, so this is all new.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, hopefully you guys are learning something. So
Okay.
$100,000 would mean that you would need to buy or have $1 million in rental property at a 10%, right? So that would be you know, like $200,000-$300,000 houses, correct? Or 4 $200,000 or 5 $200,000 houses. Are you with me, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to buy $1 million worth of real estate. Okay. So depending upon the price point of that house, if it was 200,000, you'd only need, so you'd be at 100,000 plus 40,000. Are you following me?
Yes.
So you need $140,000. Okay. Half of that would be 70. So you'd take your 140 plus your 70, and you'd say, I need to make $210,000. Okay. Now you got to gross that up. 210 divided by 20% is another, sorry, did I do that right? Yeah, 210,000 divided by 20. You got to gross that, that's another $10,000. So you need to do like $225,000 in order to be able to do what you want to do. Does that make sense, Michelle?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Guys, start. If that's where you want to start there. That's fine. Just start somewhere. Just start somewhere. Now, I don't have this in here, but what would happen if you had $20,000 of profit share coming in every year? That would just be extra. That could help fund another property. It could help you, you know, on your lifestyle side. It could help you on your investment side. It can help you pay off debt. It would just be more money that's going to be added to that money that you're earning. But the reason that I do this is because I want you all to start thinking this way now. Start thinking this way now. This is really simple. If it was 200,000, then you would have 200,000 instead of 300. Okay. And if it was, if you needed, then you'd need $2 million worth of property. So that would be 10 houses at $200,000. So that would be 40,000. Okay. So that would take you to 240. You're going to take half of 240, which is 120,000. That means you need to be doing $360,000 in real estate. You're going to gross it up by 20%. I'm sorry. 20 divided by, what am I doing wrong? 540 times, yeah. I was dividing instead. Let me see, 360, what did I say? 360 times 20, $72,000. So you'd add $72,000 to that. So 360 plus 72 is $432,000. Michelle, I might have done your number wrong, so it might have been a little bit higher than that. But I think you guys, you understand how to do this? This here is 540 times 20% to gross it up for $108,000. It's not divided by. Talk to me, guys. Talk to me.
So,
Where are we confused with anything? Barrett, do you get it?
Yeah, I do.
Hey,
This is all just, Georgia, this is Mitch. I was just thinking that this falls right in line with our allocation form or the Life by Design form that we work through in our MAPS coaching clients, right? This, the portion that would include for our profit and our taxes and our expenses. And if we calculate that out, then the investment portion becomes our part of our profit that we would invest.
That's in the MAPS models course. Yep, absolutely. This is just another, this is just like a little quick snapshot to look at it. Brandon, what do you think?
yeah, no, just creates a plan to really see where you need to, how much do you need to bring in to feed your lifestyle investments and then pay off your debt, and then the business expense as well, because that's something that's not taking out of debt. So I like that.
Yeah, and guys, you know, when you're having consulting so there's two things. You know, I have you on the call, so we're helping you. As your team leader, Brandon, you're helping your agents in the market center build wealth. If you're recruiting, you're helping you're having conversations with people about who's helping you build your wealth. Craig, you've got your team people in your market center. So people on your team, you're helping them build their wealth. MAPS coaches, you know, yes, you've got a form that you can utilize. So there's so many different ways that you can utilize this. But the other thing is that I know I'm teaching advanced profit share, but advanced profit share should also be a little bit about wealth building also, shouldn't it? Because isn't that what it's all about?
Absolutely.
And I will
I
just add to
always
that.
think, oh, go ahead, Mitch.
I apologize. The concepts about buying property actually hold true. I mean, my wife and I moved in the home that we're currently in now and used all the money that I had accumulated for profit share for down payment and closing costs 4 years ago. So I live in a house that Gary Keller built. And
Yeah, so it didn't cost you anything to get into it. If you have a 15-year note or you just pay more towards it, it's going to be paid off in 15 years, right? Or
Sure.
something. And
I
then
also have an ACH that goes out of my profit share account to buy stock with dividend reinvestment plans. It just automatically happens every month.
Yeah.
Since the money I receive is passive, I'm not going to miss it anyways. So I just have an allocation going, and my wife and I have just now, we're in escrow to buy another investment property, and some of the money we're using is coming from that account. So
Yeah.
it definitely makes sense to it's like playing on house money.
yeah, absolutely. And then you're building equity in something that's going to be paid off in the next 10 to 15, 20 years. So, you know, depending upon where you are in your life, it becomes retirement income for you. Or, you know, if you're younger and you're buying a piece of property because you want to be able to fund your kids' college education, then you're funding your kids' college education and selling those properties in 18, 20 years and being able to pay for college, right?
Another idea and thought that we promote a lot with agents in our office as they getting started with their business is, you know, think about your cap. You know, I think it's good to have like just targets, like mental targets. So another target that we use is the cap. If you have an 18, 20, whatever your cap is, you know, just imagine if as soon as you get that same amount of money between your cap and your royalty to KW, 21,000 or whatever the number is in your market center, when that becomes profit share income for you, you're truly at a 100% company. And
Yeah,
so that's
or greater, Craig, because you could earn, you know, $30,000 in profit share, and then the company's paying you to be there. You know, these are all the
yeah.
kind of conversations, guys, that we need to be thinking about. But let's go back to the simplicity of it, okay? Because I want to work with you guys on a couple of different things. Let's talk about the simplicity of all of this. Sounds great, but honestly, how do we get people to how do we build our profit share? Where does that come from? It comes from it comes from our agents giving us the name of somebody to be able to call, or an associate. So I want to make sure that everybody also understands this, that it does not have to be an agent that's in profit sharing. I want to make sure that everybody understands that anybody that's in the Keller Williams system is eligible for profit share. So if you're an agent and you have an assistant that works for you at home, but she or he is working for you, they should be put into the market center as an associate and under staff. That way their vesting starts. So many times I hear that you know, let's just say you had an assistant working for Mitch, okay? And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, she meets somebody someplace and they decide to join Keller Williams. And all of a sudden, for some reason, Mitch just didn't realize that his assistant that's been with him for 2 years could be in profit sharing. So now we go and we enter her in the system. She now lost 2 years of vesting, where she would have been vested in the following year. So it's really, really important, everybody, that everybody that's in the Keller Williams system is eligible. It doesn't matter whether they're a director of first impression, an assistant on your team, whatever they may be. Please make sure that you have those people put into the Keller Williams system.
So how do we put people in the system just for sheer vesting purposes, even though there's nobody in their downline yet?
Well, yeah. So Barrett, that's another great question, because there doesn't have to be anybody in their downline. Okay, like when you joined Keller Williams, you didn't have anybody in your tree, right?
Right. So I've got an assistant sitting next to me that how do I know if she's in the system or not for vesting purposes? So when we do put somebody in our downline.
All right. You would have had to have her come in and join the market center. So as a mega agent, you would go to your team leader, you go to your MCA and say, hey, I hired an assistant. I want to make sure that she's in the system. And that also, Barrett, provides her opportunities to be on KW Connect, to be able to have access to everything, to be able to get all the emails. I mean, the value of being in Keller Williams for you to have an assistant where she feels that she's part of a company, you know what I mean? And be able to have access to tools rather than just logging in through your site. It provides her all of her own access tools and everything.
I would like to add to that if I could, Georgia. Barrett's my mastery coach. So he asked me the question whether or not my assistant was receiving profit share. And we've been Keller Williams now, it's 9 years this last September. And she has received profit share since the second month we were there. And currently she averages about $300 to $400 a month that I don't have to pay her. And she recently purchased another house in March of this year. And because she'd received it for so long, that was included in her ability to qualify, which was quite fabulous.
Awesome.
And
So
made me very happy to know that I helped her buy her house.
Well, and sometimes you can be purposeful, and when you bring somebody over, you put them under that person because even though it's going to take you down a notch on instead of earning 50%, 10%. The thing is that you're bringing her value that you don't have to pay for. So she's getting money from something else. You know what I mean?
And because she deals with all the other agents on the other side of our transactions that I do not. And it so excites her and it changes her mindset around the agents. She used to think that when an agent would call in who needed training, that they were just a bad agent. And I quickly got her to say, no, that's not a bad agent. That's a person who should be at Keller Williams. And so now she's starting to have those conversations throughout the transactions. Like, well, if you'd gone here, oh, you don't have access to that. Never mind. And she does a little bit of the takeaway close. And then by the time it's all done, she's teed it up for my phone call at the end of the deal. And we just what I've been doing is just alternating, at least for the, every 3 or 4 I'll put in mine, then we'll put into hers and so on and so forth. And it's worked out really well.
That's great. I mean, that's the perfect way to handle that. I want to show you guys something else too, because this is something I was telling you about, but this is really important. So, because sometimes I find out that market centers aren't passing these out. So these are my profit share statements that I would get on the 21st of every month. Okay, so I just made a copy of one. Here's my tree. Okay, and so now you notice here that there's no level 1. Everybody can see this, okay? All right, so you notice here there's no level 1. That's because anybody on my level 1 did not contribute that particular month. It doesn't mean I don't have anybody on level 1. It just means I did not get a contribution that month. Okay, so here's all the people on my level 2 that I got money from. And so I really find it interesting, like Central 75, I started in the Plano Market Center as a team leader. But I didn't get my biggest recruiting from there. I really didn't start getting big recruiting until I actually launched a market center in Little Rock. I did recruit some people, but it wasn't my job was to grow my agent's profit share, not mine. But this person here is on my level 2. So somebody on my level 1 brought this person in, and he's at Central 75, which is in Plano, another area of Plano. There's Frisco. Here's Jacksonville. Here's Jacksonville South Side, Jacksonville. That's because that when I was a regional director, I recruited an agent that actually joined a market center down there. So that's where I'm getting all this profit share from. Okay. There's where you start to see my Little Rock, and I'm going to be level 3 on that because my team leader named me, and then I have my team leader named my husband, and then so my husband gets level 2 of this money. Okay. So now you start seeing this. Now I've got Southwest, I got Plano, I got Jacksonville. But this kind of starts to show me where all the Daytona Beach, Rockwall, that's in Texas. You scroll down here, there's Allen, Orange Park, there's Rockwall. But I've got some people down here that I can't remember where where was one of them was, let me see if I see that again. I think it's way down here on this other level. I don't know, it's someplace, I don't even know where it's at. I don't even see it anymore, but Dallas, Central, Rockwall, Plano, Little Rock, oh, Green Bay. Is that, do you think that might be Greenway, Wisconsin? Like, really? How did I get that person? So again, you can start to see all the different volumes here and all the different profits that came in and how much that I actually got in this one particular month. And here's what I really wanted to show you guys, because if you wanted to get purposeful on it, you know, when we teach this, we say that you really don't have any responsibility. The idea is that you have a great script. You know, you say to someone, hey, Brandon, thanks for doing a great job on that transaction. You really were excellent. I've told my team leader about you. They're going to pick up the phone and make a call. And that's what we want you to do. If you want to send them a book, if you want to have more conversation, that's up to you. We also want you to tie them into the team leader somehow. So many times I'm talking to people and they say, well, I'm not ready to give them to the team leader yet because they're not ready. It's not your job to determine when they're ready or not. It's your job to turn them over to the team leader so the team leader can start building that relationship, send them information so they can help you tee them up. So when they are ready to join, that you've got that relationship built. But let's just say that people have joined. And again, you're not responsible for this, but and I'm just showing you possibly another way to be able to help this grow. You've got everybody's, and by the way, I don't do this. So, isn't this interesting? Fire Boss Realty. I thought that was interesting. That almost looked like Boss Art Realty. I've got everybody's email address and phone number. I've got their email address and phone number. What if I wanted to get really purposeful and I wanted to create a little mastermind? Barrett, Mitch, this would be good for you guys as MAPS coach. What if you wanted to take your profit share tree, you wanted to build a distribution list, and you wanted to send them things every month to be able to inspire them to go out and get more business or recruit somebody? What if you guys had a mastermind once a month or even once a quarter on doing kind of what I'm doing for you guys right now, just getting them together and talking about it and say, I want to help you guys build your wealth. How can I help you build your wealth? How can I help you get more business? Because maybe it's either their wealth building or maybe it's even coaching them to do more business. Barrett, wouldn't your profit share grow then?
Undoubtedly.
Okay. And Barrett, all you would be doing is what you do every day for 1 hour. 1 hour a month. 1 hour a month. And what if you could get another $1,000 a month by coaching these people to go out and do more business or build their profit share tree? And by the way, all your information is right here. Barrett, do you have a cyber backer?
No, I have an assistant that works on it a lot though.
Okay, well, so you could have somebody that, just puts all of this in a distribution list for you, right? What if
Are you doing that now, Mitch?
Yes. I sent out every month around between the 20th and the 23rd, everybody in my profit share tree gets an email of thank yous and offering of coaching. And about once a quarter, I do an event for them. Either it's built around building their profit share or help coaching them in their business, and including profit share in that conversation. And then, because I believe you got to teach what you want to learn, right? I also teach profit share at the market center and other places. So, and I include them. I have every intention of helping them get to a high dollar in profit share. So yes, I include them in all of it.
By the way, here's those little factors. Do you see this? See this here? These are those little factors. 0.16970 times company dollar equals that profit level, and then the levels. Do you see that? Remember, this is my level 2, so this is where my 10% comes in. And you're going to see some consistencies here in probably, let's see, Central, let's see, I'm just trying to find Jacksonville Beach. I'm trying to find 2 market centers that were the same.
Another thing that I noticed too, Georgia, is that on my profit share statements, you start realizing which market centers are really, really profitable. You know, like some market centers are much more profitable than others. And so you have the, you know, the numbers, the exponents of the numbers are much bigger in a couple of different places that we have some,
Right.
yeah, some
Yeah,
capitals in there.
that's the other reason too, Craig, that you want to help everybody grow, because the more you help everybody to grow, then the more your profit share will grow as well. You know, I mean, sometimes I hear people say, I don't want to send somebody over there because they're not that profitable. Well, that's why you want to send somebody over there, because then they will be profitable. You know what I mean? So anyway, hopefully this was helpful for you guys as well, because if you're not getting these statements, please make sure that you are working with your MCA to get those statements. Okay. So you have those to be able to work to build your tree. All right. Was this beneficial for you guys today?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I just do this once a month, just kind of bring some tools to the call, listen, answer questions for you guys. You know, I put in that chat there where you can go on and listen to Jason and Jay Papazan about some wealth building. And then we're just here for you every month to be able to help you build and work on some scripts or dialogues or whatever you guys need to be able to go out and grow. Barrett, did you think it was valuable time, good time today? I just do it once a month. Mitch, how about you?
Oh, absolutely. I apologize for being late. I had a coaching call. Yet, this is really good, helpful information. I'd love to know where we could get that chart where you showed the dollar amounts needed in the bank in order to receive that. Is there a way that we could get that somehow and I could use that?
Yeah, if I was really good. Hey, Ashley, let Ashley come in here and then she can show me how to put it in the chat. And then I can.
Yeah, because I'd love to send that out with my note of gratitude to my profit share tree this month and share that with them.
Is it just a document?
Yeah.
I sent them earlier that profit share folder. So I could just add it to the profit share folder. If they use that same link, it'll be there.
Did you guys get a profit share folder from Ashley earlier?
Is it in there?
Well, I don't know. Hold on for a second. I'll tell you.
It was on a separate email.
Hold on. Oh, here it's under. I actually have to fix it because I just noticed an error in it, but it won't make any difference to you guys.
Hey, Mitch, can I ask you a question?
Certainly, you always can ask me a question.
How do you?
And how are you, Craig?
Good. How you doing? How do you?
Outstanding, man.
So did you download all the people in your profit share tree into do you send them like a letter? Is it a email? What are you sending them? And what you?
It's an email. I just created a Google contact group in my Google contacts. And then what I do is I send it out and I send it to my assistant and then I BCC everybody else.
So are there contact emails on that profit share statement?
I believe so, yeah, but I don't even send it only to the people who I got profit share to. I send it to everyone. And the reason why I want the people who are not currently doing anything to maybe say, gosh, I'm not closing any deals. I should take this guy up to coach me and help me get some transactions. And then the ones who are doing stuff, I'd like them to be coached up and say, listen, let's build profit share together. So as an example, I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 profit share script partners. And one of them is from my profit share tree. And I always offer it. You'd be surprised how many people don't want to take you up on it because they don't know that math that Georgia was sharing with us earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And when they know that math, they start changing. And I open it up to all of them. And then I do classes constantly and I include my profit share in everything I do.
Well, another thing too that you're saying, I'm sitting here, my brain's starting to think about some things. And because even just connecting with those people on a regular basis is pretty neat because, I look at my statement and I don't know who a lot of the people are in there anymore. But how neat would it be when you got folks from all over the country and they know who you are in your city? For us that are still doing sales, referrals, right? That's cool too, right? When you get to know your people in your profit share tree and having referral partners to send things to help them in their business as well. That's, another benefit there.
Well, and don't limit it to that. So you don't mind that I take a little bit of this over now, do you, Georgia? Because they're asking me questions.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. So I'm friends. You guys all know who Aaron Kaufman is?
Yeah.
Okay. So he and I are friends and I'm on his Facebook group. Well, usually when we used to meet in person, about 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the event, I would announce that I was hosting an in-person impromptu, let's get together, do profit share mastermind. And what it would usually be, it'd be during a lunchtime in some place in one of the hotels. We'd gather in a big group. So that has helped me in a couple of ways. It's helped me, one, in communicating my personal vision to myself about what I expect my profit share to be, because I announce it to other people, so it holds me accountable. And then the other thing it does is it has put me in front of people who give me referrals. So I did it at family reunion in Dallas. We met under a stairwell. There was about 40 people who showed up, and I've gotten at least one referral from that group for a transaction this year. 10 grand in my pocket, spent 45 minutes with these people. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Craig. As a matter of fact, I think you were one of the people, not at the event, but you and I met at last family reunion. By the way, I love your emails.
All right, guys, I just put that, Mitch,
Thank you.
check the chat. I just put it in there.
Thank you so very much.
Put it in there.
Yep.
Georgia, do you have any suggestions or anybody masterminding on how to get into better relationship with more people around profit share? Mitch and I talk about this fairly often, and I would love some fresh ideas.
So, in your market center, give me more detail, like for you to build your profit share, or to build, to
Yes.
talk in your market center to get more excited about it, or tell me.
So I guess I'm thinking more along the lines of non-KW agents. How do you get into relationship faster with those people? It's more and deeper, right? It's the more people that you talk to, and the deeper in relationship that you can get with them. So I'm looking, I guess, for any ideas that you may have, or anybody has, on how to get into relationship with more people.
Okay, so, all right, so first of all, the end result is going to be about the profit share, but what you're saying is, how do you get into relationship with people to be able to eventually get them to join so you get profit share? That's the question.
Yes.
Well, you know what Linda McKissick does, and you guys are in perfect, or did and does, that you guys are in perfect jobs for this, is, Linda would go to, she was very well known in Texas, and she was part of Howard Britton Superstars and all that kind of stuff. So the way she does it was, she would go to an event, and now I'm going to give you some ideas. They may not work like right now like that, but think about how you can work these, okay? So she would go to an event, and the speaker would speak, and then all of a sudden she would raise her hand and she'd say, "Hi, Linda McKissick from Keller Williams Realty. I have a question about something." And her question was so much different than anybody else's question that I think she got the mindset like, oh, she's thinking differently. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, if you saw somebody up on stage and they were talking about teams or something, you might say, "Hey, Coach Barrett Spray, Keller Williams Realty, do you guys have any insight on how you build 7th level teams?" Now, but somebody's going to go like, "What's a 7th level team?" Do you see what I mean? Instead of just saying, "Can I ask you a question about team building?" So you're doing something that, first of all, attracts people with a different kind of language. Okay. Then what would happen is, Barrett, after the event, people would go up to her and say, "Hey, what were you talking about? Who are you? What's this Keller Williams thing? Blah, 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 blah." Now, that sounds kind of ordinary, but sometimes these ordinary small things still kind of work, because oddly enough, not everybody realizes that Keller Williams is the #1 real estate company in the world from a growth perspective. Do you know what I mean? Not everybody has heard a different story, has not really heard our story. Okay. So, if you were purposeful in wanting to create like a mastermind of building, of having an event where you would attract people to, a session about wealth building, or about building their business, or about, coaching them to something. So you're not interfering with what you need to do as a MAPS coach, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, lead a mastermind on how, whatever you think somebody needs. I mean, most people need lead generation. Most people need to know about You can go on to the technology, Facebook leads. I mean, anything that we learn, you can 90 listings in 90 days. I'm not saying that you're going to teach that course, but what I'm saying is you're going to say, how do you get one listing in 90 days? Do you see what I mean? So, I'm not saying that you take what we do. But anything that we do, I'm just saying conceptually think about something that we do, because there's nothing proprietary about telling somebody how you can go out and get 5 listings in 90 days, right? But you're just using that thought process. I'm not saying that you're going to use the materials or anything like that. What I'm saying is it's just regular real estate concepts that you can go out and get on our website to be able to mastermind with anybody. Are you with me?
Absolutely. Yeah. Mitch and I have been working on one.
I'm a maps coach too, so I get it. I mean, I know that we've got to be careful about the things that we do, but some of the things it's not proprietary to, it's not like we're going to go out and teach bold or whatever, but honestly, some of the things they teach in bold are regular just concepts, aren't they?
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying is just pique people's interest, or, get a list from your team leader, Barrett. And I mean, you just say, hey, I'm Barrett Spray. I'm a maps coach with Keller Williams Realty, and I was just calling to see how you're doing in your business. If you guys want to have an opportunity, I need help in bringing indies over to Keller Williams. If you want to help me make phone calls to indies in a certain area, I'll be happy to work with you or Mitch or whatever, and I'll give you guys some scripts and you can make indie calls for me.
I'd love to.
Okay.
I would suspect Mitch would probably jump on that chance as well. I don't want to speak for him.
If you guys are interested in doing things like that, just send me an email, let me know. Let's get on a phone call together and let's just go. By the way, Mitch, that's nothing different than Aaron does. He just does it by, putting out a website, right? And attracts people, but that's all.
Oh, yeah. Well, he does things that I'm not interested in doing, which he spends about, $2,500 a month in ads. And I'm not a passive guy. So I'd rather make the outgoing call because I'm a lead generator, and that's what I do.
Right. He just does it passively because he's trying to attract people to his website. I'm just giving you guys the same thing that he does. You're just going to do it prospecting based instead of marketing based, right?
Yeah. Well, I think Barrett was about to tell you also, he and I have been working on a mastermind, and I don't mind. You don't have a problem me sharing this, do you? Okay. So he and I are working on, we have a scheduled in January, a mastermind for people who are married couples and or romantic partners who sell real estate together.
Yeah. Awesome.
Now think about how we came up with this concept, because we figured, first off, there's a ton of potholes that these people step into constantly as couples. And I'm saying that very politely. So there's things that happen. The other thing is generally there's an opportunity for them to have some serious big GCI and unit goals. Yeah. And they're going to be people who are going to be collectively, at least a capper collectively, potentially cappers greater than that. And so right now I'm aware of about 800 in my market alone who do that. So we're putting together that mastermind with an intention. If I can get 40 people at this thing to share and learn, those are 40 people I'm now going to be in a different relationship than I would be had I not done this. And
so, Barrett, I'm happy to help you with that and help grow. Mitch, which office are you in?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm in Las Vegas, number 98.
But I mean, are you in, what's her name's office?
Terry Brinkus or Debbie Zoyce?
Yeah, Debbie. Well, say hi to Debbie for me.
Well, I'm actually in Terry's office.
Oh, okay. Well, say hi to Terry for
me. I will.
Georgia, I'd just like to respond to Barrett as well. Barrett, Lori is doing the growth committee now in our office. Mm-hmm. It's every Thursday. She's bringing in some good speakers to get us in the right mindset and doing some scripts and also talking about different ways of becoming in relationship with people. Rich Carpentieri's been on a couple of times as an example. You might want to just pop in there, even just for the first half hour on Thursdays at 9, just to see if that sounds like any value. And then she turns us loose to start making our calls. But that's every Thursday at 9. It has changed significantly, as I know it does throughout the years. But this year with Lori leading it, it has taken on a different focus and a different level, I think. So just might be worth your while.
Thanks.
Georgia, go ahead, Barrett.
I was just going to say my schedule is really hard on Thursday mornings. That's why I haven't been there. But thank you for the invite.
I was going to say, Georgia, would you mind if I share how I built my profit share, at least to where it is right now? I think I've averaged about, close to $2,000 a month.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I mean, this is like
Okay.
an open little forum, so I'm here to let people learn.
So I'm guessing everybody's probably at about, probably an agent or an admin person, and pretty much your focus is selling real estate? Yeah? Okay. So-
Primarily, yeah.
Okay, so what I figured out some time ago that is most of us don't want to dedicate 40 hours a week. And I've hired Barrett as my coach specifically for profit share, as a matter of fact. That's all we do. Now, I'm a coach, I'm a real estate agent, and I'm a profit share builder. And so before, though, I only figured I had about 1 to 2 hours a week to build my profit share, because otherwise I was prospecting for buyers and sellers before I became a coach. So when I came up with this rule of 5, I figured most of us can manage 5 close-knit relationships with other real estate agents. So what I would do is I would find the 5 people who I'd done a transaction with, who were a capper, or somebody who was on the verge, a cusp of being a capper, and I'd get that information from my team leader. I'd reach out to them. I'd introduce myself as an agent, and I would just say, hey, listen, I understand you did 18 transactions last year. You're doing twice the average of the people in the city. I'd love to learn what you're doing so I could share it. Can I take you out to lunch? And of course, the response was always, well, I don't want to be recruited. I said, well, I'm not here to recruit you unless you're interested in being recruited. Is that true? No. I said, I just want to take you to lunch. Got a series of questions. Let's sit down. I'll share with you, you share with me. So then I get to know their business. And then because I knew their business, I kept track of it. And when I'd read things like on Inman, or I'd read things of a Keller Williams nature, or I'd read something, see a video that came across my email or something from an AR, I knew these people's business and where their desire was to grow. And I would forward all this material off to them. Secondly, we get that Out Front magazine, which in my opinion is one of the best recruiting tools on the planet. I go through it every time we get it. And I see, okay, I love this, but because I know these people's business, it's in my reticular activator. Things pop out that say, oh, this would be great for Craig. So then I take a colored Post-it note and I'd write right on it. On the front page, I'd put, read the article on page 15, call me when you're done, Mitch. And then on page 15, I put another one just hanging off the edge of the page, read this article with an arrow. And then I put it in an envelope and send it to their office. Nothing else. Because I was in relationship, they knew who Mitch was, right? And then I'd call them a couple of days later. Did you get it? Yes. Have you read it? Yes or no. If you haven't, when can I call you back? Because we should talk about this, because this is exactly what you were looking for. And I just did that and stayed in touch with them. And believe it or not, they start asking you questions about, well, how does this work over there?
Because
Well, I thought you didn't want to be recruited.
you become the local
Was that?
you become the local expert.
Right. And because I'm caring about their business more than their current broker owner is, they're going to start asking questions. And because 5 was really easy to manage, I could do that with the follow-up calls and the text messages and the dropping into the mail, about 2 hours a week. And it worked out really well. So you could do the same thing. Just pick 5.
You became purposeful about it. And that's what it was, Mitch. It's just becoming purposeful about it, right?
Yep.
And now you're working with your tree. And so now your tree can go and do some of that work.
Yep.
Right?
Well, my intentions are to be at, $50,000 a month by the time I'm 70 years old.
Good.
I've got 15 years. There's no reason why that can't happen.
No, absolutely not. And I would say you need to work on your tree, because getting those people, because as you saw, Linda only had like 27 people on her first line, right? So how
Yeah.
many people do you have on your first line?
I'm 11.
Okay. So if you keep working on that, but then work on the ones below that, because that's where that big money comes in. And Mitch, I would say get with your team leader and work on some indies, Because that's going to be that you'll build it really fast with that. So if you went out and found an indie broker or a top agent that was at an indie, that you could get 5 or 6 people to come over, and you could get that agent that would then bring over 5 people below that, and see that would start to geometrically start to grow for you. See what I mean?
Yeah, well, when I built my 2 Century 21 offices, and I probably shouldn't say this, I went from 4 of us to 80 of us in 2 years on merger acquisition. So I'm familiar with that. I just don't know the indie model that we have at KW.
Well, let me tell you something. It's really not an indie model. It's just a mega agent office. But
Okay.
so just get with your team leader, get with Terry, and let them explain it to you. It's really not when we say indie/MAO, what we're saying is just picture you're going after an independent broker, a broker that's an indie, not a franchise, but somebody that's at, George Alpizar real estate company or something. Do you see what I mean? You're just looking for an indie. And what you're doing, Mitch, is you're just providing a solution for them, because a lot of them right now, they don't have the technology, they don't have the models, they don't have the systems, and they're stuck. They don't know what to do. If they're a 5 or 7 or 12 agent company, they don't know what to do because they don't have the hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest in technology, right? And they don't have the model systems and tools. So we become a caveat for them to be able to fold their business in with Keller Williams, okay? But they can keep their location, Mitch. They can keep their location. We fold them in, and then we provide them it's kind of like the power to buy Keller Williams, right? So they get our technology, they get our model systems tools. So they don't stay an independent broker necessarily because they fold into our brokerage, but they're over there in their own location, and they're still operating it as though it's their brokerage, but we're their broker. So we take all of that off of them, but we provide them all the tools to be able to continue to run their business. Make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So just talk to Terry, your team leader, or somebody about it. But I think that would be a great opportunity for you guys to. So Barrett, what I'm saying, or anybody, Craig, this is for you out there in Gainesville, is that there's a lot of pockets of small brokerages out there that we're not talking to. And so we need to get into conversation with some of these people. So Barrett, if you're interested, let me know, and I'd be happy to work with you on that. And it doesn't have to be.
I'd like to thank you. Just
in other areas.
I'd like to thank you, because for as long as I've heard the term indie brokerage, I was always just a little bit confused of what that meant. And when you just said independent broker, I was like, you're a genius, Barrett, that I didn't realize that for so long.
Yeah, indie is an independent brokerage. They're not associated with the franchise. So it'd be like the Earth Gray Realty.
That was worth the time I spent here just right there.
And Georgia, we are talking to them here in Gainesville.
I know, but there's more opportunity than, there's a bunch of stuff out there in Lake County, Lake City, all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking to that Tracy. He's trying to get me a conversation with her, and I got another person that they can talk to now. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of them out there, a whole bunch of little companies that we need to be in a relationship with.
It is Thanksgiving next week. I think we call that just gobble them up. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Yeah, there you go. Go gobble them up. Go gobble them up. I hope you found this beneficial. I hope you want to, Mitch, I love the fact that you were on our call today. But if
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. If anybody has any questions or want to learn more, just let me know. I'm happy to help you. And go visit with your team leader, Brandon, your team leader. So go visit with your team leader and learn how you can maybe get a list and just my theory is that the team leader is there to help you grow their wealth. A lot of people think that the team leader is there to recruit. That's true, but their job is to recruit through you. Okay, so the thing is, when your team leader comes, if you're an ALC member, you're top 20%, they come and say, hey, do you have a name for me? Understand that they are doing that not for their job, but to help you become wealthy. And so if you can just have that conversation with an agent that you're doing a transaction with and just say, hey, Lisa, it was great doing business with you. You really handled that inspection really, really well. I just wanted to say thank you for being such a great agent. Don't be surprised if my team leader, Brandon, is going to reach out to you and give you a thank you. And, you know, and yes, I know that their response could be, well, I understand, but I don't want to be recruited. And your response back, just say, I totally understand. We just want to thank you for being a great agent. And that's it. And then go back and tell your team leader, hey, Brandon, I just talked to, Lisa. She doesn't want to be recruited, but would you just call her and thank her for doing business? And they know how to handle that. So they're giving them a gift or a book or something. And then it just starts the relationship process. So at some point in time, we've made that connection. Okay, guys, you can do this. Hey, someday a lot of people are going to be with Keller Williams and they're all going to name somebody. It needs to be you. All right.
Thank you, Georgia.
Go have a great holiday, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for everything you guys do to help our company be great. And I look forward to visiting with you again next month. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a wonderful holiday, everyone.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you.